So I want to talk about a couple of beats that I've picked up from Johnny Vidacovich that I refer to as his right, right, right beats. That's because these beats start off with 3 strokes in the right hand. We've covered some of Johnny's stickings and some of his train beats, but now I want to cover these beats. These are great for playing on the snare drum. They're also great for moving the right hand around to the cowbell, the ride, the bell of the ride, or the floor toms, or anything else you can think of. So let me start off by breaking this down just by playing on the hi-hat and the snare. And I'm going to play it slow and show you exactly what this is. This first beat is what he played on Her Mind Is Gone. And this is one of my favorite beats that Johnny has ever played. And I'm going to show it to you slowly first. Notice it's the 3 strokes on the right hand and then with a double backbeat. And then we'll cover the rest of the sticking in a minute. So I'll break that down even slower. Now I'm going to add in some of the bass drum that goes along with this. So what happens is you play bass drum on beat 1, 3 strokes in the right hand, and then a bass drum on the ah of 1. Then you've got your 2 double backbeat hits, and then you get a skip beat leading into a sticking that's going to seem really familiar, and that is right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, which is number 33 in George Lawrence stick control, and it is also Academy lesson number 11. So my first encounter with this beat was that Johnny wanted to show me something, and he put on a Professor Longhair record that he plays brilliantly on. If you haven't checked out this record yet, check it out. It is Crawfish Fiesta, and it was recorded after the band had been on the road for a while, so they were tight. So Johnny played this record, and then he went into the kitchen to make himself some coffee, and he wanted me to figure out what he was playing on the record. And I tried to come up with something, but I was off, way off, and I needed him to show me exactly what he was doing. Johnny had a laugh out of this, and then he sat down at the drums, and when he played this beat and I got to watch him play this, I was just mesmerized and completely in awe of how greasy and smooth this groove and this beat are. So I've seen Johnny ask this question a number of times in clinics and in master classes, and people say, what is one tune that you are really proud of that you recorded? And he often cites this beat, because when Professor Longhair started playing the piano, he wanted something that was along the lines of a surf beat, but Johnny felt like a surf beat was a little hokey, a little square, and not nearly hip enough for what Professor Longhair was playing on the piano. So let me show you now what a straight surf beat looks like, and it's very straightforward, and it's got the double backbeat, but not much else. So then Johnny put this on the snare drum, and he added flams, and it starts to get a little funkier. So Johnny added some notes on the snare to embellish this, and it started to get a lot hipper. So let me play that on the hi-hat and the snare. I'm going to start it off as a straight surf beat, and then I'm going to start adding these embellishments. So now I'm going to play that full groove on the snare drum. So at this point, I want to talk a little bit about this roll that's happening on beat 4. Now, when Johnny was playing this, I was a little bit at a loss to figure out what he was doing. And over time, I've gotten a lot better at being able to understand this roll and also to be able to explain it. Basically, what's happening with this roll is that you're playing a flam and then 2/16 notes. So let me show you this rhythm without the buzzes. Now I'm going to add those buzzed notes, and I'm basically buzzing all the notes. You can even buzz the grace note leading into this accent. Now I'm going to add the bass drum on the E of 4, and it's going to sound like this. Now sometimes Johnny will slur this and turn that into something that is more like a triplet. So the rhythm would go from this to something that sounds more like this. But when all the notes are buzzed, it's hard to tell exactly what's going on with the hands. But you want to get that E in there on the bass drum. So I like to play it as a flam with 2/16, and the 2/16 notes happen on and ah. And so the bass drum comes in the middle of all that. So check it out. So now I'm going to put that in at the end of this groove. Now you'll notice that I am buzzing some of the accents as well, and you can totally do that. Buzz those accents in the left hand, and that makes this groove super greasy and super slippery and super funky. Now when Johnny first showed this to me, I could tell right away that the right hand was going to sound great on other voices within the kit. I'd already been experimenting with the right, left, right, left, right, left sticking, and I'd already been moving my hands around the kit and getting all these different voices. So I could tell when I saw this that this was really going to be one of those grooves where I could move the hands all around. So right now, let's try moving the right hand around to the cowbell, then the hi-hat, then the ride cymbal, and then the bell of the ride. So now I want to talk about another one of Johnny's grooves that starts with 3 strokes in the right hand. And this is the beat that he plays on John Scofield's version of Sissy Strut off the record Flat Out. When I heard this record for the first time, I was blown away by how totally smooth, greasy, and awesome this groove was. This groove is based off of a 3/2 clave. And what happens is you play 3 strokes in the right and in the left. And then everything after that is right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Now I'm going to add in that same roll that we just talked about, and I'm going to put that on beat 4. Now, when Johnny first showed me that, as I was saying, I was at a loss for how to play that roll the way he was doing it. So I would just accent with the right hand and then buzz with a left, right, left after that. But try it both ways, or try it different ways that you feel comfortable with. I like hitting the accent in the right because then I can move over here to the floor tom on the and of beat 4. So just experiment with it in some different ways and come up with a way that you feel comfortable doing it. Now this groove works great moving your hand all around the kit as well. Let's do something similar to what we just did. I'm going to put the right hand on the cowbell, the hi-hat, the ride cymbal, the bell of the ride, but then for kicks, I'm going to pick up my hamburine and play over here on the floor toms as well. So you may have noticed in there that I actually threw in that first beat that we covered, the Her Mind Is Gone beat. These two beats work great together. They're both based off of a 3-2 clave. They both start with 3 strokes in the right hand, so you can interject these beats with each other. So right now I'm going to go back and forth between these beats. You can go back and forth between beat letter A and beat letter B, and go back and forth one measure each. Let's try that first here on the snare drum. So let's try something a little bit different. I'm going to play the Her Mind Is Gone beat here for 2 bars, and then I'll throw in the other beat for a bar, and then come back to Her Mind Is Gone. And this is kind of like an A, B, A structure, and I use this a lot when I'm improvising. Now for kicks, I'll start off with beat letter B here on the cowbell. Then I'll go to beat letter A for the second measure, back to beat B, back to beat A. All right, now to have a little fun, I'm going to pick this up in tempo. I'm going to start over here on the hi-hat. I'm going to play an open note for the hi-hat, and then I'm going to move over here to the ride and to the bell of the ride. But you might notice that Brian Blade played something real similar to this on a Joshua Redman tune off the Mood Swing record, and I'm pretty sure he must have gotten this from Johnny V. So as you can see, there's a lot of different things you can do with these 2 beats. Really, the sky is the limit, and you're only limited by your creativity. So please come up with some of your own variations, and I really look forward to seeing what some of y'all are going to come up with. You can put some Afrobeat bass drum down here. You can put some maracatu or some Brazilian bass drum down here. You can put 4 on the floor. All kinds of different things you can do with these two things. You can vary up the stickings a little bit. You can move the hands all around the drums. So please post what you film and record of yourselves, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. Hope you guys dug this. I've had a blast doing this first lesson for y'all from my new studio with 4 cameras, and we're gonna have a lot of fun in here filming and putting out new stuff for you guys. So I'll see you guys in the forum. Yeah, you right.